Canada, hello.
Welcome everyone to this very special presentation, session 2 of the 7 Mighty Moves book study. We have the Reading League Pennsylvania here, the Reading League New York, and we are also joined by the Reading League North Carolina, a recently formed chapter. We're so excited to have these chapters here and representation from all across the globe. This is so very exciting. All right, Jody, next slide. We're gonna try to keep our intro a little brief here because we know we want to get onto the really exciting stuff. So the mission of the Reading League is to advance awareness, understanding, and use of scientific aligned reading instruction. Don't all of our children deserve that? They absolutely do. All right.
Okay. I should never be the tech person.
Hello to Australia. We have some goals and objectives in Pennsylvania and New York. So hello from Pennsylvania and New York. And our goals are to provide professional development to teachers in the science of reading. We want to support the application of science of reading. We want to bring partners together to support that mission. Moving fast on to the next slide. We also want to encourage collaboration with our higher education colleagues. And finally, we hope to support parents in advocacy and understanding of the science. We have 29 chapters across the United States, and you can see those hearts that are here with you tonight, but we are very excited to have North Carolina with us, one of our newest chapters.
Hello, I'm Lynn Carpenter from New York. It's so nice to see so many of you tonight. If you're interested in joining us, you can scan right here. This is a great page. This is how you can join us. And there's also options for donations there as well. Thank you.
So this is just how you can stay connected with the Pennsylvania team. And I missed a slide. There you go, North Carolina.
Hey, y'all, we are so excited to be able to support this. I'm originally from Pennsylvania and New York, so I am really excited that I'm bringing the Southern hospitality back north home. North Carolina's new. We're super psyched to be a part of bringing this mission to North Carolina. It's very much the same mission-driven stuff. You can see our information here, and the easiest way to find out how to connect with us is just to go to nc.thereadingleague.org. Thanks, y'all.
All right. Thank you. And you have the cutest little y'all. I love it. Well, thank you. We're so excited you guys could be here and also able that we can record it and make it available to everybody. So we are diving into the first move. We were honored to have Lindsay with us last week, and it was such an emotional and exhilarating night that I'm excited to continue the journey. So I am Jody Jackson, and I have brought a team from my local suburban school district, Middletown area school district, and we're going to tackle move 1, which is teach phonemic awareness with intention. And I want to give a quick little research overview and then turn it over to them so you can see what it looks like in the field from real teachers and real classrooms post-COVID. But I thought I'd give you a little bit of the why. So yes, I was Principal Barbie for Halloween, but this beautiful blonde girl is my niece. She's 27. And when she was 8 years old in this same school district, she was diagnosed with phonological dyslexia. And I did not know then what I know now. And boy, do I wish I could go back and help her. It has impacted, and she's given me permission to share this, but it has severely impacted her confidence and self-esteem. And she is the kindest, most beautiful, gentle soul, but she still lacks that self-esteem. And I am on a mission to change that for her and for others like her. So that little handsome guy, Iron Man, is her son, who is 5. He's in kindergarten in the school where I am principal. So not only do I get to be his great aunt, I also get to be his principal. And he has literally all of the red flag look-fors for phonological dyslexia. So he's received a lot of early intervention, and it has been really key to helping make sure that we protect his confidence and his self-esteem. So I'm very excited. One of the teachers here tonight is his kindergarten teacher. So she'll be with us just shortly. So a really quick overview. I know we have a very diverse group of people coming to us. Some are really well versed in all of the things that we're going to talk about. And for some of you, it might be new. So I thought it would be nice to take a minute to talk about two big areas, terms that are used a lot that people often confuse. One is phonemic awareness and one is phonological sensitivity. You might have seen the umbrella image. So phonological means anything to do with the sounds of our language. So it could be like Jackson is 2 syllables, Jackson, right? It could be the word, number of words in a sentence. But what the research really supports is getting to the phonemic level, which is the individual sounds that make up our written language. So that's why this first thing here is so important. Research supports at the phoneme level. Not that syllables and onset rhyme don't have some value, but real improvements in student outcome come from that phoneme level. So the very first step to achieving phonemic awareness is being able to first hear and identify the sounds. And then learning how to correctly articulate sounds will help students to differentiate between the different sounds and to help build that phonemic awareness. And then we want to be blending, segmenting, and manipulating phonemes. So the larger units are phonological in nature, and the smallest individual sounds are phonemic. So we have some instructional suggestions, and this is just good, solid teaching. Anita Archer would talk about this. You go from simple to complex. We're going to talk the chapter. Lindsay does a really nice job of doing a quick synopsis of the different types of sounds in our language. I think it's important. I believe, 41 until Dr. Pam Kastner taught me that there were 44 speech sounds and only 26 letters. And I remember thinking like, oh, I guess I never knew that. So we should know this. So we're teaching kids. So, and these are just some things that we might use, but I'd really like to save time for the teachers. But the one thing the research is clear on is not only explicitly teaching it and just going simple to complex and using that gradual release, but connecting letters as soon as possible, because they really are two sides of the same coin. Reading and writing really require sounds, and then how do we spell those sounds? So here's some fast facts that make this the #1 move that Lindsay picked. It is the most common source of reading difficulties is poor phonemic awareness, and my niece was one of those. In fact, I think there are some different estimates, but I think it's around like 80%. It's really, really high, have poor phonemic awareness. The next bullet, phonemic awareness and letter knowledge are reliable predictors of future literacy performance, and that has remained stable over time. So, and then I already talked about the 44 phonemes. So some quick reminders, and Lindsay really does a really nice job of getting at these points, is to start at the phoneme level, to keep it brief. And I think this is important because there's so much on a teacher's plate nowadays. So the one video we did, we literally, the kindergarten teacher and I tried to show you different skills within a little 5-minute capture of time, and we were able to do that for you. Instruction can be with and without letters. We want to bring in letters as early as we can, but you can start phonemic awareness in preschoolers before they've been taught their letters, and it can continue as they're learning their letters, because learning phonemic awareness will help them to learn their letters. Learning letters will help with their phonemic awareness. We talk a little bit about estimated spelling and dictation and flexible thinking in terms of research as it emerges, so that we can evolve and always, when we know better, do better. So I would like to hand it over to Mrs. April Hughes, our kindergarten teacher.
Hello, everyone. Oops, sorry about that. Can everybody hear me? Okay. So I teach kindergarten, and Jody's nephew is in my classroom, and I'm lucky to have him in my room. So we in kindergarten, we start, as you can see, we try to make it motivating. They have their little scary fingers to point to the sounds. And there's the video that she was talking about that's 5 minutes long. And in the video, you'll see me doing a couple of different things. Saying, okay, here are the sounds that I hear. S, O, and I go first, and then we do it together, and then they say it, and then blending those sounds to say the word so all orally. And then you'll see me or hear me saying, okay, tell me the sounds you hear in it. So then they have to tell me it, but we start by I do, and then we do it together, and then they practice it by themselves. And a lot of our kids come to school lacking that oral language. So we try to do as much as we can to help make that stronger for them. So, you know, we want them to be able to speak in complete sentences. So one way I have them practice doing that is during our morning meeting. You know, they might share about their weekend or something like that. And if they would just say park, you know, I would say, oh, can you say that in a sentence? And if they say a sentence, you know, that's not making sense or is improper, I will say it and then have them repeat it back to me correctly. If they're saying a sound wrong, let's say, kid lips is a big thing where they, you know, look at me, look at how my mouth is, and talking about how your tongue should be and things like that, and modeling it for them and having them practice it. Let's see. So we try to build their vocabulary as well. And we have different programs we use with that, but even them just orally hearing that language, you know, pulling in, you know, language that's relating to maybe something we're learning or things like that. Because in addition to blending the sounds and segmenting the sounds, I also have a page where they have a chip, and we practice just the beginning sound for my lower groups. And so I might, you know, maybe we were learning about animals, maybe I'll use different animal names, and they just practice hearing that beginning sound. So things like that make it more motivating for them. But as they, you know, are doing great with the beginning sound, I add, you know, maybe my higher groups are doing 3 sounds because they can hear at or things like that. But with the oral language, what is nice is that you can use so many different words than you could if you were spelling them. So just getting them to hear those different sounds and things.
Did you want me, April, to play any of the video?
Sure, you can.
We'll just play like 20 seconds because it is kind of long, but that way they can go back and see it later.
Oh, very good. Will you do it by yourself? Please tell me the sounds and so.
I just thought you do such a nice job of really demonstrating that gradual release. Oh, no, wait. Tech problems. Oh my gosh, tech team, I'm so sorry. So go ahead, April, go ahead and you can talk, and then we'll talk about the videos.
Okay, so you can see the top picture is what I use where that's what they have their fingers just as a little motivator to point to when I'm, you know, we're blending the sounds or we're segmenting the sounds. And as you can see, I start with 2, go up to 3. My higher groups can do 4, or later in the year we'll do 4. But I can use this with all my groups. It's just, you know, maybe my lower groups will only be doing 2 sounds and then building up to 3. So it's nice to be able to have it so they're used to it using this, you know, the same visual. And the second one is the one I was saying where they would pull the beginning sound down. And then we would just say, how do you spell that sound? So if the word, you know, was mat, they would pull down and say, and then I would say, how do you spell that sound? Now, sometimes with your lower groups, they will not remember what letter spells that sound. So I have, you know, a letter page or something, and I can give them choices and things to narrow it down for them. Whereas my higher group wouldn't need that visual because they are more automatic with their, you know, letters and letter sounds. So I always just try to do the I do, we do, you do, to make sure, you know, they're hearing it correctly from me, then we're saying it together. And then when they say it by themselves, I'm able to hear, are they saying it correctly? And if not, give, you know, immediate feedback and help them.
And just to piggyback, in her room while she was sitting in the other corner with those kids, the bottom picture, this is a reading specialist, was over in the corner working with another group. At this point of the year, they do a lot of push-in supports as opposed to pull out. And this is just another way she's using visuals. So I won't play the videos to save time, but just know that you guys have access. Can somebody share it in the chat, the slide deck, so everybody will have access to the videos, and we'll make sure that Dr. Kastner puts it on the Wakelet. So, oh, every time I click, it starts a video. All right. Sorry. Oh my gosh, I'm never doing it. Never doing the tech again, team. All right, Heidi Ebersol is our first grade teacher. Good job,
Hi.
Thank you.
My title was Building Phonemic Proficiency through a lot of manipulatives and also using the sound wall. So in first grade, we build on what they learn in kindergarten, and we work on developing phonemic awareness by manipulating the sounds in many ways. And I really like to use a variety of materials. I am always, like all teachers, looking for items in stores that can be used in multiple ways. For example, in the first picture, they are just foam blocks, and I did bring some along here. Oh, there we go. And I use them for things like compound words. So I would take 2 blocks and say like birthday, and then take one of them away. If I take birth away, what do you have left? I've also used it for sounds, and the blocks that are in the picture there have like a slide where you could put letters in. So I've used it that way as well. So they have to choose which letter it is to make each individual sound once you're building the phonics into it. The other thing that you see in the picture is from the Target Dollar Spot last summer. And it's always good to look at that around 4th of July when they start putting the school stuff out. And these were great blocks that have like whiteboard on, or like white off markers on the side. And I used it for phonemic awareness, just going through the sounds, and they have to put the blocks on with the sounds. And then when they're ready for it, you'll see that on the next slide, then we do add the phonics into it. My new thing this year, I took 2 twister boards, just the old fashioned game that we used to play, and I cut them apart, and I have one taped to my floor, but I have individual ones. So if I'm doing a whole group, it's really good to include hand motions and body movements. So it kind of solidifies that learning, and you'll see in the video in a minute. One of the things that I have them do is take like a blend and just pull apart one part of the blend. And that is really difficult for some kids to do orally. But when you're adding in the body movements, it just helps them to get that a little bit easier. And you'll see that in the video. Jody, do you want to play that one?
Yes. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear it okay.
All right, we're going to build the word sled. Everybody say sled. Let's tap it. All right, now you're going to say your sound and step on your circle, starting with green with go. All right, what happens if we take the away? What word? Good job.
All right, now let's see if I can advance it.
All right, we're going to build.
So developing on the skills learned in kindergarten, we quickly in first grade begin to add the phonics to the phonemic awareness by adding the writing of those letters. But we always make sure the emphasis is on the sounds first, and to make sure they really have those sounds down pat before we do add the letters. I know in the book, Lindsay showed the poppets in one of her pictures. So that's something I've used, and that's something that's been pretty common and accepted. And the other one I do is the Target Dollar Spot blocks that I found. And you'll see in second grade, Tiff will talk about word chaining, and that's what I do with those. So they'll have to change one of the blocks, one of the sounds, and then they write the words going down. And I have blocks that have the 3 sounds and also 4 sounds. So once we get into digraphs and blends, it's, you know, a natural build from there. And then I have these just Lego roads, and they put the Legos on at the bottom to show each of the sounds. And then on the yellow spots where the road would be, they write the letters, and then they take a little Matchbox car and put the word together. So again, it's just another thing, like adding in some of those movements to help them get it down. And the other video that I have on there is using tap lights. And
she does the tap lights, and then she'll add the magnetic letters. So Jody, do you want to play that one? Oh.
Good. Okay, now turn them off. And now I want you to do each sound. And after you do each sound, you're going to pull the letter down into the box. Ready? Good job. What's the word? Awesome. Okay, Jenna, we're going to.
Okay.
Okay, and then the other thing Jody asked me to talk about is our sound wall. So we started sound walls, I think we figured out about 7 years ago. And honestly, when we first started talking about sound walls and we were trained in sound walls, I remember Googling it and I couldn't find any information about it. It was that new at that point. So we've been doing it for a long time. And in first grade, we spent about the first month really developing the sound wall and having the kids talk about the sounds. So when we went out for COVID and we came back, we had kids that were on Zoom and also in person. And I was looking for a way to build in the sound wall for those kids that were on Zoom because they couldn't see the sound wall in the room. So I reached out to Mary Dahlgren at Tools for Learning, and she gave me permission to use these, the cards that we had for Tools for Learning, and I created this digital sound wall. And that's how I used it and shared it on Google Classroom. And then about 2 years ago now, I saw somebody online had created a sound wall wrap that I just thought was really cool, but it didn't have all the parts that we used. It didn't have the same language, and I really wanted to create the same language. So I have the video on here. I'm not going to play it because it's a couple of minutes long, but when you get the recording, you can go and see my kids actually going through the sound wall wrap. And then the next couple of slides has all the words to it. And it goes into the Val Valley as well. So if you're interested in that, you can look at that on your own time. It's about 3 minutes. So.
All right. Okay, and Tiff, you're up.
All right. Hi there. That's okay. I'm just going to talk a little bit about what we do in second grade. I'll start with sound chaining. And sound chaining is where one sound is changed to make a new word, and it can be done different ways. One way is using just the sound, so orally. You can do this with or without manipulatives, depending on your student needs. So here is an example of sound chaining with manipulatives. So Jody, if you want to play the video.
Okay. Word is mop. Can you tell me the sound of mop? Can you show me with the chips? Like, good. What is this sound? What is this sound? Good. Can you change mop to hop? What sound changes? To a. Good. Tell me the new word. Hop. Good. Can you tell me the sounds? Wait. Good. Can you change hop to hope? What sound changes when you change hop to hope? O to an R. Wait. That's okay. We're changing hop to an O. Good. Go ahead and change it. Good. Can you tell me the sounds in the new word? Hope. 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 Good. Can you point them out to me? Hope. Hope. Good. Can you change hope to home? What sound changes when you change hope to home? The. To an. Good. Can you change it? Good. Tell me the sounds. Oh. Oh.
Okay, and you can also do this with letters and make a spelling chain. You can use letter tiles or have the students write the words. It's just really important to make sure that you're only having them change one sound at a time. And if you're doing it orally, it's not quite as difficult. You don't have to be as aware of what you're changing, but when you're doing it with writing with the letters, you just have to be more aware of the words that you're having them change and making sure that it's, you know, one sound at a time. So it gets a little trickier when you do that. So if you go to the next slide, I actually have an example of, yep, there. So there's a spelling chain that we did where they were writing the letters with that. And then also this kind of ties in together with the dictation and estimated spelling. So this can provide more information overall about a student's understanding with different skills. So this is something that you can look at, you know, either with like if you've covered a specific skill that you're looking for and you've given them words with that specific skill, if you want to look to see if they understand it and are able to apply it, or you can also look in just their writing samples. So I have a sentence down there at the bottom that one of my students wrote that you can just take a look, and things that you want to look for is, for example, if they're struggling, you know, if the sound is voiced or an unvoiced sound. So you can see in the sentence the word spider. They had the T sound. So again, the T and the D, just making sure that you're pointing that out, you know, voiced and unvoiced sounds to make sure that, you know, you're looking for those things. And you can see crawling. That wasn't a pattern yet that we had talked about. The OL was actually something that we did talk about and touch on. So that made sense to me why they had used that pattern. And then also to see if they're having trouble segmenting.
All right. All right, Kate.
Hi, I'm Hi, I'm Kate. I'm one of the reading specialists at our district. So I'll be talking about intensifying instruction. Most kids that end up coming to see me usually do have some phonological struggles that they will be that they are dealing with. The first thing I ask is, do they understand the task that I'm asking them to do? I want to make sure that they understand the directions of the phonological task. If I'm asking them to give me the first sound or the last sound in a word, do they understand what first and last is? So when we're really intensifying, we're going deeper. Also, are there other factors to consider when I'm working with kids that may have some phonemic awareness issues? Like, is there a speech articulation issue? So I need to be aware of that so I can help that student. And I actually work a lot with my speech pathologist because of how often phonemic awareness and speech issues kind of go hand in hand. Are they an English learner? Do they have these sounds in their vocabulary? Because some languages don't have the same phonemes and sounds as the English language. And are there any working memory issues? Because sometimes they can't actually hold all of those sounds in their working memory. So as you're intensifying instruction, that's kind of what you're looking for in phonemic awareness. I shared the slide on increasing intensity. This one came from UFly, but I've seen it all over the place. We really want to remember the further we go in our tiers, the more we have to do the I do, I do, I do, we do, we do, we do, you do. When you're in the classroom, there's a little bit of I do and then some we do, and then you kind of release the kids. When they're coming to a tiered intervention, it's a lot more support systems. One of my favorite support systems is to use pictures and to kind of give something concrete for those kids to hold on to as we are segmenting and blending words. So the corner is an example of what I use to really help in the beginning. And I do a lot of modeling and the students can then attach it. And I'm always shocked when they still say the wrong words because they're right there. But that is where the level of intensity needs to be. Also down in intervention, really getting mirrors in the hands of kids, helping them to see what the first sound is by seeing themselves produce it, by looking at me making the sound. So mirrors are huge when you're really working with a struggling reader. To the next slide. Like Tiff had shared with using sound chaining and word chaining. What I like to do down in intervention is I actually use the same exact chain back to back. So I'll start and I'll do a chain where they're exchanging sounds and I'll use the same 4 or 5 words. Then we'll take it and we'll change it with letters. And I'm using the same 4 or 5 words. And some days, if I'm really feeling like it, I'll actually give them a list of those words to read and to see if, as we continue to practice the same sounds and the same words being changed and manipulated and read, if that's going to kind of help them solidify. I do have I did not embed my videos, but you can link to watch them, but it's just seeing the same sound chain first in these manipulatives and then in the letters. So as you think about anytime you're having kids that are struggling with phonemic awareness, how can we really intensify this? How can I do more modeling? How can we do more together? And how can I just give them more repetition is what it comes down to.
Okay, so I think we are ready to do some breakout rooms, and I hope you guys are ready with your questions. I think we were hoping that you could think about, like Lindsay does at the end of each chapter. She always says, what do you want to keep doing? What do you want to stop doing? What do you want to make sure you start doing? But feel free to discuss, and then we'll come back together and we'll debrief together. So thank you so much. Hope to see you in a room.
Ah, forgot to change the time. Okay, we were just doing a little test. I didn't want to give you more time than 3 minutes, so let me just do that really quick. Pam Kastner has her time set for a really short time. So are you ready to try again? All right, here we go. See you back, and let's do 15 minutes. All right. Here we go. Let's try this again. Okay, we should all be back, Jody.
Yes, I'm trying to be smart enough to get my thing back up. Whew. Technology literally makes me sweat. The conversation in the breakout room, I could do that all day. I had the best time. So, let me go back. So does anybody want to, it's hard for me because I'm sharing my screen. Does anybody want to unmute and just open up to any questions that came across in the breakout rooms? We have about 5 minutes.
And you can raise your hand and pop to the top if you're nervous about just unmuting.
Do you want me to stop sharing so that it might make it easier for me to see people?
Yeah.
Or do we want to, does anybody who was like a chapter leader or a guest speaker, do you want to just give a synopsis of what you talked about? Like, I was honored to be in a room with someone from Canada, New York, North Dakota, and I forget the other place, but we had the richest conversation about how we each picked up a little thing, how powerful the book was, and how nice it is to be able to just connect with other people on the journey of learning. And I said, as much as I love in person, Zoom gives us the ability to come across the country and come together. So does any other chapter leaders want to share?
Jody, hi Jody, you guys are doing amazing. I just wanted to say you just read my mind. I was in a room with Texas, Florida, Canada, and it was so nice to be around people like-minded and seeing the good that everyone is doing with structured literacy and science reading out there. It's just fabulous. So thank you for this opportunity.
Oh, thank you, Angela Sabolka.
Go ahead, Linda.
Just wanted to highlight something that we spent some time talking about in our breakout room was just how powerful it is to know that just a short amount of time with daily practice of phonemic awareness related activities can have such a huge impact. And it was just so nice for us to reflect on it's not a giant shift and change in your practice, and it won't have to take up a huge chunk of your instructional time in order to maybe start doing something that you weren't doing before, which is just such a positive thing and a great place to start if you're needing to make a shift.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hi, it's Lynn from New York. I was just going to say, in our room, we had a great mix of people as well. And one thing that really seemed to resonate with a lot of us was the idea about what the research is saying versus sometimes what you actually get in a program. And that's something I think we all really appreciate about the book. And just talking about the idea that when you see in the book, the idea that if you really want to get a lot of bang for your buck and doing your phonemic awareness, it's really focusing on things like segmenting and blending, and maybe realizing you don't actually need to work on for 15 minutes on things like rhyming when you're not, it's 15 minutes is precious time, right? So there's a lot about just keeping up with the research, and especially, and we acknowledge in our group, it's a little bit tricky with phonemic awareness sometimes when can be told different things, but to just sort of keep doing what you feel is right and sticking with what, you're being told by the researchers.
Yes. All right, Chris, thank you. Kristen, I see you have your hand up.
Yeah. Along those lines of what Lynn was saying, I was at the New York State Reading Association conference last week, and Tim Shanahan spoke there. And one of the takeaways I took along that idea of knowing who to listen to and programs and things, he talked about how whenever people present to us or we receive professional development, they tend to start with the research at like the top of a cone, and then they come down and make things more specific to how do we put that research in practice. But what is often missing is when the research ends and opinion begins, or the idea of this is one way we might put the research into action. And I just thought that was such a good thing to think about, because sometimes I'll listen to someone who starts with research, and then when they get to the practical matters, then I can be confused because different people say different things. So even as we talk to colleagues, as we work, I think it's important that we think about where does the research end and my idea about how to apply that or my way of doing it begin, and being really clear about that and tentative to make sure information is clear.
Agreed. And I think that's why Lindsay made it a point in the book to talk about remaining flexible in our thinking and being willing to adapt our practice as research emerges, because it's going to continue to emerge, and then we'll continue to refine our thinking and change our practice. Anybody else? We have just a couple minutes left, and then we're going to wrap up. Maybe one more comment. Anybody have something they'd like to share with the group? Okay. Oh, that means I'm supposed to share my screen again.
You're doing great, Jody. Almost there.
Oh, I'm going to be so excited when the tech part is over. All right. I believe, I forget, not me, but I think someone else is going to do the wrap up.
All right. Well, we are so grateful that you all were here to join us tonight. And we hope that you had rich discussions, and we'll continue to see you for our further sessions. We have been dropping our links in the chat. We are completely nonprofit organizations, and we can't survive without your support. So please join us as members. And if you are from North Carolina or New York or Pennsylvania, please join us and look for your local chapter. If you are in a state with a chapter, you can always join our sessions, though. We're happy to have you. We also have the Wakelet that Jody just flashed before your eyes.
I forgot I was screen sharing. I'm sorry.
Okay, that Wakelet link is in the chat, and we will continue to add the recording sessions there, as well as additional resources, things that we've shared tonight in the chat feed. You'll be able to find there on the Wakelet. We appreciate your time and all of your attention to your students, because they are our future. And we are looking forward to seeing you on, ooh, what is it? December 20th. Oh my goodness. Maybe everybody should wear a holiday sweater, and we'll do a little holiday talk
a
about
little Merry Mixer.
Oh, Mary Mixer, there you go. She's all for the alliteration.
I am.
And we'll be talking about move number 2 And we will hear from, I think our friends in New York are leading that. I believe.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we'll be tackling
exciting.
phonics.
Favorite.
Phonics fa la la. That's what we should call it.
Oh, look at her on the spot.
I can't.
All right.
I can't.
We're so happy to have you here tonight. And is that our last slide then, Jody?
I think we were just going to
There we
give a
go.
little shout out for the coffee and tea on Saturday.
Yes. So if you're not a member of the national chapter, please do that. They have a Facebook group who talks about the journal articles. So consider joining that and paying for the journal. Excellent research to practice, opportunities to read and share with the authors and the researchers. And I didn't catch the date really quickly there, but
it was the old slide. I didn't update it for tonight. I'm sorry, but it is this Saturday.
Thank you. And I think it's at 9 a.m. So if you need more information, we'd be happy to help you with that, and have a wonderful night. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for your patience as I bumbled my way through tech.
Thanks,
And my team,
everybody.
if you could stay on, that'd be great.